What is up, people, and welcome to the 7th frame-by-frame tutorial. In today's tutorial, I will be showing you how to animate a sad face expression for your stop-motion projects. This applies specifically to action figures or dolls, not to claymation or 3D animation, right? Because with 3D animation, of course, you can just generate a computer image showing what face you want, just rig the character, do whatever you do with the rigging the face or what. I don't know how it even really works, but do whatever you do with the 3D animation stuff, with claymation, you can of course just move the clay around and make their face change and all that stuff. But with action figures and dolls, you can't really do any of that. So this tutorial is going to be completely computer based, okay? Like Photoshop, GIMP, photo editing kind of stuff that we're going to be doing here. And I should mention, I had planned in the recent past, to release a tutorial showing like how to do an angry face, a surprised face, and a happy face as well. The sad face was actually part of that process originally as a plan. But I've been kind of putting it on the back burner because it's such a long and laborious project to put together. But if you all want to see those expressions as well, let me know in the comments and I will try to release them more quickly than I would otherwise. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, let's get into this tutorial, guys. So this is the image which was featured in the video, and that's the original form of it. And this is the final result that was shown as well. I'll be showing you basically how to do this, okay? From this to this. Now it won't look exactly the same because I'm not just gonna like copy and paste. Obviously, you're gonna see like there might be slight variation and stuff like that, but I'm gonna do the same thing I did with this one. Now this program is called GIMP. This is a free, basically like Photoshop program. I use this all the time. Even though I have Photoshop on my computer, I'm using GIMP for so long, I'm like very used to it and I like it a lot. So I just keep using it. So the first thing you want to do, right, is zoom in because we're really going to be playing with the eyebrows here. So I get the paths tool, which is this tool over here. You can also use other tools. Like you could maybe use the free select tool or maybe the scissor select tool, but I like the paths tool more. So just like, let's do one of these eyebrows, just one of them. Let me carry this across. So just outline the eyebrow, right? Let me go to like here and then drag that to like kind of curve there. And then make another line like here or something. And also drag on that to curve that. Then put one here, connecting them here. If it doesn't connect, you can press Control, hold Control, and then click on the other point to connect them. And then double click and drag to like, shape the curve of it. And then connect these two. I'm gonna click this, gonna hold Control and click that to connect them. Double click and drag to adjust the curvature. Now there is a bit of space here. Let me just try to move that around. All right, I guess that's good enough. Then you're gonna click Selection from Path, right? And then Control C, or you can click Edit, Copy. But I usually just do Control C, it's a lot quicker. Control C to copy, and then Control V to paste. And then you're gonna see over here, it says Floating Selection Pasted Layer. You have to click Layer to New Layer. So now you have a new layer. If I click the Move tool, I can show you that is just the eyebrow, right? So you have just the eyebrow here. And I'm gonna press Control Z to undo that. I want it back in the original position. And I can actually rename this layer. So you see I have the original, which I'm currently working on, the YouTube short or final result, other one there. And then now this is the pasted eyebrow. So you just call this like, double click the name and name it like eyebrow 1. Okay. So now I'm gonna double click over here on the scale tool, which is this one right here. Double click and hold down. And there's a rotation tool. I'm gonna release on the rotation tool. And then I'm gonna rotate this like maybe about somewhere around like 15 to 20 degrees. Let me just zoom out a bit to see how it looks. And you can like actually cover part of it to just see how it will look with just both eyes. Because right now you can see both eyes, but I want to see just how one eye looks. And let me rotate that a little more. Let me see. All right, that should be good enough. So all right, I'm sorry, that's like 24 degrees. So click rotate. All right, And I'm actually gonna drag it around a bit, like put it over here maybe, you know, like, yeah. And so now the next step is to basically hide the eyebrow that is underneath the original. So I'm gonna click layer. In fact, no, sorry. Let me do this, because there's many ways to do this part. And so I was gonna do an old technique I used to do, but I actually found a new way that I think is much better. So you wanna click on the original layer, right? Get the selection tool over here. I usually do the rectangle select, or I mean you could do the ellipse select too. So grab one of those selection tools, or even the pass tool if you want to, but it will take longer. And just select, like, you know, a circular area of his skin. And then Control C to copy, Control V to paste. And then to put it on a new layer, there's also a shortcut, Shift Control N. That will put it on a new layer without having to go, you know, click layer to new layer. Just put Shift Control N and it'll put it on a new layer. And I'm gonna double click and name this layer eyebrow. You see eyebrow 1 gone, eyebrow 1 gone, or something like that. Or eyebrow 1 underside. You put eyebrow 1 underside. Oh, eyebrow 1 underside. Just so I'm naming the layers so that I can tell what they are just by looking at them, instead of having, you know, some confusion. So click the move tool again, and we're gonna move this up here, right? Now it is a bit small, but there's not really much room to work with. His face here doesn't have a lot of options, and we can actually extend it, make it bigger. So double click on the rotation tool and reselect the scale tool, and you can just scale this up a bit, right? Drag it over here, press enter, right? And now I'm gonna start basically erasing the extra parts of this thing that I don't want, okay? So I'm gonna click the eraser tool, and I usually do this like kind of blurry edge one because it gives it a kind of a faded smooth edge rather than, let me show you for example. So if you click this big hard solid circle here, right, it's gonna erase like that, and I don't really want that. So Control Z to undo that. If I click the one with like the fuzzy edge, it's gonna erase like that. So it's kind of blurred on the edges. That will help to kind of blend it into the skin that you're trying to hide it with. So it's better to use a blurry edge brush. In fact, let me choose the blurriest edge, which is the smallest one here. And you see how, yeah, so I'll use that. I'm gonna make it a little bigger, increase the size. And now I'm gonna start erasing some of that stuff there, right? Just erasing it and kind of shaping it to his eyebrow, okay? Because all I'm really trying to cover is the eyebrow. I don't really care about anything else. And you see now it already looks a little better, right? But let me see, I can also reduce the opacity so that I can kind of see through it better. And I can see the eyebrow, so I know exactly where I'm trying to erase, which is everything except the eyebrow area. And just, you know, just go over it and erase that stuff. And then let's bring the opacity back up now. And you see that already looks pretty decent, right? Now, let me see. So now I'll grab the smudge tool over here, right? And I'm gonna very gently go around the edges and just like kind of smudge a little bit like that. You see that? And it's kind of like blending these things together. And you want to do it up here as well. Just very gentle. If you do it, you know, go too rough with it, it can look super horribly blurry. And you just want a little bit of that blur to like blend these together, right? And down here, same thing, right? And now if you find that you maybe like cropped the image too close and you don't have a lot of room to like blur well, you can actually increase the size of the layer you're working on. You can grab, like, let's say for example, the rectangle select tool, right? And you can make a big square like this, or big rectangle, and you can click layer and then crop to selection, and that'll make your layer bigger, right? So now you can, for example, you see how right here, because we had that border there, it wasn't blurring past that point, but now that we've extended the size of it, it can like blur over there as well, right? And kind of blend in right there too. Now, this already looks pretty decent, right? I think, let me zoom in on just one eye so you can see just one eye. like this. So that already looks, you know, pretty decent. The only problem is that like this part seems a little too light because there's like a shadow here and it looks kind of weird how it contrasts like that. So what I'm going to do is actually click on the same eyebrow underside that I'm currently working on, make sure it's selected, and I'm going to go get the free select tool, which is this lasso looking thing, and I'm going to actually like double click and try to select the, how do you say, the bottom right corner of that thing. And then I'm going to do Control X to cut, Control X, or you could press, you know, edit, cut as well. And then Control V to paste, okay, and then Shift Control N to put on new layer. We can call it eyebrow 1 underside 2, okay? Now we want to make this darker, and the way that I usually do that is if you go up here, you can click Colors, Hue, Chroma, and you can play around with these settings until you get something that looks pretty good. So turn the lightness down, makes it darker, right? You see? So it looks darker, but now it's a little too dark and it's not the right shade or tone. So play with the hue as well to make it look more red. Play with the chroma, and it's looking pretty decent right now. Like that looks pretty solid, right? So press OK. It's still not perfect though, so let's get the smudge tool again and just kind of try to like blur this stuff together a bit, right? Like that. All right, like that, you see? So that looks pretty good. Let me see if I could maybe extend it a little bit over here. And I think that is decent, right? That's pretty okay. But the eyebrow looks a bit harsh because the edges are like just these solid straight lines. So we're actually gonna like get the eraser tool, and you want to just go around the edge of the eyebrow and kind of soften those edges, right? So let me make sure the eyebrow is selected, and you want to just like kind of blur the edges of the eyebrow a bit, just so it has a smoother transition to the skin tone, you know, and it will look more natural. It won't look like you copy and pasted the eyebrows, you know. So just kind of blur those edges around and stuff. Yep, just get that looking pretty smooth, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, I am by no means a like graphic design or photo editing expert. I'm actually very new to this whole eyebrow process that I'm showing you right now. So you're seeing me in my infancy, so to speak, right? But this is what I found that looks acceptable to me. You know, I think it looks good enough that I'll be like, okay, I'll put that in a stop motion and I'll be okay with it, you know? And now we see here there's some weird stuff going on here. I'm not sure what that is. Let me turn some layers on and off to see. So okay, so it seems to be this layer here. So click that and okay, so let me get the select tool again. I'm gonna make this layer bigger. So layer, crop to selection, right? And then get that smudge tool and kind of blur the edges of that, so you get rid of that weird looking stuff. Now this thing seems to be on a different layer. Oh wait, is it disappearing? Oh yeah, it is. Okay, good. All right, so that is pretty much one eyebrow done, I would say, right? Pretty much. You can of course adjust the shadow and stuff. Let me see, because it looks a bit big. Let me see if I can erase some of it. In fact, let me turn the layer on and off just to see. Okay, so let me just erase some of that, but it doesn't seem like it is erasing. Oh, I'm using the smudge tool, my bad. Make sure you have the correct tool selected, all right? I do that a lot. So erase, yeah, and then, yeah, just erase some of that because it looked a bit harsh. Let me see, so, and then blur that back out a bit, right? Hold on. And then just smudge around. And that looks, I mean, it looks decent enough, I suppose. Actually, I prefer it the way it was before. All right, so this is actually better. So I'll leave it like that, all right? And now I'm gonna do the same thing for the second eyebrow. So you wanna click the original layer once again. And the reason I do layers and stuff, and I don't, you know, just crop and cut all over the original image, is so that for stop motion, for example, you want to have the frame without his face add, and then the frame or frames with his face add. So in order to do that, you need to make sure the layers are separated. And what I usually do actually is I create like a layer, and I call it, if you click down here, click this button called create a new layer group. And I usually just name it like frame 1, right? And drag the original image into there. And so frame 1 is the original image, right? Now I can copy this layer group, right click, and then duplicate layer, right? And I can rename this, the copied one, to frame 2, okay? And I can put all the eyebrows and stuff in there with that layer, so that therefore, look real quick now, when I turn that off, you see his original face again, right? And that's kind of how I would do the stop motion. Now, of course, this is just like from A to B, but if you want to have like a more detailed, slow movement of the eyebrows, you could have like, you can move the eyebrow a little bit, frame 2, move it a little bit more, frame 3, frame 4, if you want to get like more frames, right? But I usually just do like 1 frame for a facial expression, because it's very a really quick thing, because you're just like happy, then you're, or like just like stoic, then you're like, you know, or like, you know, it's really a quick thing. So I don't think you really need to have a bunch of frames going on. So I usually just do 1. All right, so this is frame 2 we're working on, okay? And now we're gonna do the second eyebrow. So click on the original in frame 2, or whichever you want, and then do the same thing. You're gonna get the paths tool once again, and zoom in, and click here, click and drag to like adjust the shape there, and then click this, hold Control to make sure they connect to each other, and go like that, right? Then you want to click here to make a new point, hold Control so they connect to each other once again, click and drag to adjust the curve, and then you want to connect these last 2, and hold Control and click here to connect those 2, right? And I'm going to bring that down a little bit, and I'm going to drag from this direction a bit to get that kind of sloping, curvy looking situation going on, and then drag here as well to get that kind of long elongated S shape, right? And then click selection from path, excuse me, Control C to copy, Control V to paste, Shift Control N to put it on a new layer. They're gonna carry this, let's carry it to the top, and then call it eyebrow 2, right? And now let me show you once. You click off of the pass tool, click on the move tool, and I'll show you, look, this is, you know, the second eyebrow right here, okay? Control Z to put it back where it was before. And I'm actually gonna make this layer a bit bigger, just to give me more room to work with, like, you know, blurring and all that stuff and smudging. So drag that like this, a layer, crop to selection, just to make the layer bigger. And now we're gonna start doing the underside, okay? So now you can choose to grab from anywhere on his face. And of course, as I mentioned before, there are multiple methods of how to, like, you know, basically erase the old eyebrow, the previous, or hide it. One way, which I don't think is the best way, but I used to do it when I was first starting out, I would get the color picker tool, for example, and I would like click, you know, his skin tone, and then I would go to like the paintbrush tool right here, and I would choose, you know, some blurry brush, and I would basically do like, let me see, let me make a new layer first. So layer, new layer, eyebrow 2 underside, okay, and put it under the eyebrow layer, just drag it underneath there, and I would basically do like this, you see? But this, like, you can make it work if you're very, very meticulous, but it takes a lot longer and it doesn't look as flawless as the other methods. So that's why I don't do that anymore. What I do now is what I showed you earlier. So I'm gonna click layer, I'm sorry, select none, because you see right now this is selected. That's why it has these little lines moving around it. Select none, I don't want anything selected right now. And I'm gonna create, well, I have the new layer, the underside already. So I'm gonna grab on the original layer, click the original layer. And you can either choose to grab it from over here or from over here. This jaw is, or cheek is a lot smaller, so I'd rather go with the bigger one to reduce, you know, loss of quality when I scale it up. So let me just like click here and then click the corner to get rid of the hair there. And then Control C to copy, Control V to paste, Shift Control N to put it on a new layer. And you want to take it up here to and call it like oh well, I already have eyebrow 2 underside. Okay, this is eyebrow 2 underside. Eyebrow 2 underside. Okay, you can delete the other one, or you could just merge them down actually. So right click, merge down. That will combine those 2 layers into one layer. Click the move tool and you can, oh, hold on, forgot it was over here. If you drag this, you can see this is what we just copied, right? Now it does look a bit dark, but we can lighten it. So that is not a big issue. And I'm not covering the eye, I'm covering under the eyebrow. So we're gonna go here. Oh, we didn't even rotate the other eyebrow yet. So eyebrow 2, double click the scale tool to get the rotate tool. And we're gonna rotate it, you know, to match the other one more or less, okay? And that's about 16.18 degrees. Click rotate. I can hide this layer by clicking the eye here. Get the move tool, and I can move that up a little bit, right? And now click eyebrow 2 underside once again, turn it back on, click and drag, and we basically want to use that to hide the old eyebrow. So double click here to get the scale tool, click on it, and then if you have these braces connected, this chain link connected, it will scale like, oh, this layer is huge though. Oh, because I merged them, my bad. So control, let me X that out. Let me make this layer a lot smaller real quick. Just double click that, drag it down here. And then let's do this. And then layer, crop to selection. Okay, and then select none. So now this layer is much smaller. And so I was going to show you this. So click the scale tool. If you have these 2 braces connected, it is going to scale it in the exact ratio you currently have. Like it's gonna, you know, do like that. If you take those braces off, you click like that, you can then scale it however you want, right? And I'm just gonna try to make it longer to cover that distance, because you see it's kind of the eyebrows a fairly long area. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna take it up here, right? Press enter to complete the scaling process. Get the eraser tool like I did before and start, you know, erasing the edges of it. And just erase a lot of that stuff. You don't want to erase that part because that's what you want. And I should mention, in this program, it recognizes your moves as like one click or one hold. So let me show you, for example, if let's say erase all of this stuff here, right? But I only want to undo this portion, I can't. I have to undo all of it because it was all one click, right? So Control Z to undo. If you want to be more careful with what you can undo, you can like erase a little bit, then release your mouse or touchpad, erase a little bit, release, erase a little bit, release, and then you can actually undo the pieces, you see? And that's actually, I guess, a smarter way to work sometimes. And erase that. And remember, you can turn the opacity down so you can see the eyebrow. Turn it down like that and zoom in so you can see where the eyebrow is, and you know what you don't want to erase, because all you're trying to do is hide that eyebrow, right? And then do like this, just erasing all of that stuff, right? And then turn the opacity back up. And so now it already looks pretty decent, right? And we're going to continue, just maybe erase the edge a little bit, get that smudge tool just to blur the edges a little bit like that, right? Just to blur those edges. But the color is a bit off, so I'm gonna actually try to color match it. So let's go to colors, and you can actually save, Control S to save, right? All right, and then so colors, hue, chroma, and you know, once again, play around with this. I'm gonna make it a little bit lighter, like that, you see? So it's blending in a little better. Let's see, that's a little too bright. Let me try the hue. Let me see. That's like kind of pinkish. Nah. That looks decent. Hold on. Chroma. But just play around with the colors to try to get a pretty good match. I think that might be a decent match. All right, press OK. Then get the smudge tool and just like try to like, you know, smudge or blur those edges a bit. Let's see, where's the eyebrow? Okay, the eyebrow's right there. Now you see this part right here, just this part seems to need a bit more of a darker shade. So I'm gonna get the free select tool once again, and I'm going to, let me turn this opacity down just to see what I'm getting. So I'm going to grab like this, maybe, right? Something like this. I'm gonna press Control X to cut it, Control V to paste it, Shift Control N to put it on a new layer. I'm gonna put it underneath the other one. Why does it look so bizarre? Hold on. That's weird. Huh. Hold on. It looks brighter when we pasted it than it did before. Oh, because the opacity, my bad. All right, hold on. Before I cut it, let me put the opacity back to normal. All right. And then let me select it now. Just make sure you know where you want to grab. All right, and then Control X, Control V, Shift Control N. And then you can name this like eyebrow 2 underside 2 or whatever you want to do so you know what it is. There's nothing, well, a few things more frustrating than returning to a project and looking at the layers and not knowing what they are. You're like, well, I have so many layers and they're all named pasted layer, right? So that's probably not a good way to work. Anyways, so let's go to hue, colors, hue chroma. And we're gonna try to make this match the brown right here, right? So we turn the lightness down. All right, change the hue, make it more red. Change the chroma. Let's see, like that. Okay, turn the lightness down. All right, that's a little too dark now. All right, let's leave that for now. Let's go to color temperature. See if that will help us. Make the temperature more like orangish, right? And then let's see that. All right, okay. Let's try brightness and contrast. Just gotta try to color match that stuff, right? All right, contrast, let's see. Okay, it's getting a little closer, I think. Press OK. Colors, let's go to hue chroma again. Turn that lightness down. And that is looking pretty close. I think that's a pretty good match. Press OK. And I'm gonna get the select tool, what's it called? The rectangle select. Layer, crop to selection just to make it a bigger layer so I have room to blur and all that. And now we're gonna get this smudge tool and we're gonna start just like blurring those edges, you know? And right here too. Why is that not? Hold on. Oh, I see, hold on. Let's put this underneath this. All right, and then let's try this now. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to go back and actually blur the other one too, so these here can blend into each other like that, you see? Gotta blur both of them a bit so they blend into each other. Get that, right? And then just use the smudge tool to get that blurring going on. You want, yeah, just to get that stuff going on. Let's see here. I want to put this on top. Okay, I think I'd rather actually that one on top. All right, and let's carry this over here. Now the line is a bit harsh. I'm trying to think of the best approach. let me get a piece of his skin or something. Let me get the circle ellipse select, click on the original layer, and then like control copy that, right? Select none. And now I can actually use that as a brush. Okay, so let me try that and see how that looks. Oh, hold on. Let me click on the eyebrow underside. This one, well, no, the top one. Click on that. And then I can do this, right? But it still looks pretty harsh. Let me see. 12 hours later. Yeah, come back. All right, so let me just try smudging this thing and see what happens. My bad for that. Click. Yeah, let me get the blurry edge one. There we go. Get a pretty big brush to get a very soft blur, right? Okay, looks decent, I think. Yeah, that looks pretty solid actually. And then let's get the other one, the other layer, and blur that a bit as well. All right, click the top layer again. And so it's a very, gentle blurring game, so to speak, right? Yeah. Okay, and now it's looking pretty good, I think. Although it looks a bit red. So I'm gonna try to get rid of some of that red color on it. Let me make sure I have the right layer, which is this one. And let me click colors, hue chroma. I want it to look a little less red. So let me do like that. All right. Press OK. And then let's smudge. Smudge that. All right, and then we're gonna get this other one again. Just trying to get, yeah, okay. That is pretty good. Now let us soften the actual edges of the eyebrow. So we can get the eraser tool and just kind of gently go around the edge of the eyebrow to soften those harsh copy and paste lines from the selection tool. Now I think there may be a way to like, cut and paste with a feathered edge, but I'm not really sure how to do that. So if anyone knows, let me know. I may research it at some point as well, but if you do know, feel free to leave a comment about that. And just go around the edges and soften up those lines. All right. Why is that so? Oh, look at that. That's horrible under there. All right. I gotta go back and do a little something with that. But yeah, just soften those edges to make it look more natural and not just like you just copy and pasted, even though that is literally what you did. Still want it to look natural, right? So that looks a lot better, I think. And let's see about that weird looking stuff under there. Let's just smudge that a little bit to soften that up, Yeah, all right. And I think this is pretty solid. Like this part is a little bit of red going on though. Let me see. All right, let me try smudging again and see what happens. Okay. Yeah, it's decent enough. It looks kind of like a shadow, right? But anyway, so this is the final result, of course, and that's frame one. Frame one, frame two, frame one, frame two. I know it looks pretty solid. And you can also add, if you want it to look even cooler, you can add a surprise mouth to him. This is a little bonus surprise for you guys. And then click the scale tool here And let's put those braces on. All right. And put that there. And we can take the braces off now and just kind of expand it like this, right? Expand that. All right. And then let me see. Enter. Click the rotation tool just to rotate it a little bit, right? And there is also a 3D perspective tool, 3D transform, because his mouth is tilted up a little bit. So let's just, tilt it up a bit like that. All right. Yeah. And so, yeah, there you go. Surprised, right? Or even, surprised or sad. He's really surprised and sad. He's like, huh, that kind of thing. And yeah, and if you want to like adjust the color of his lips, you can do that as well. Colors, hue, chroma. Could change the hue, make it look a little more pink, make it look a little more pale, all that stuff like that, right? Depends on what you're going for, right? But I will these mouths here, this mouth is just an Adobe stock mouth that I personally added the lips and stuff to. So I'm actually going to try to find out how to make a Google Drive folder or something where you all can click on it and download a whole suite of these mouths for your own use. Okay, let me show you what the mouths look like. Right, this is A, like A. This is like D, E, F, L, M, neutral, O, R, S, a smile, surprise, like what you just saw, and W or oo. Okay, so these are the mouths, and I'll try to get these in a way that you guys can actually download them for free from my Google Drive or something like that. But yeah, that is pretty much the tutorial. And you can see here, sorry, let me just actually put the mouth here. And yeah, so from normal to surprised or sad, right? Yeah, so that's it. All right, guys, I hope you found that helpful. And remember, if there are any other tutorials you want to see, for example, the same, like, different facial expressions, happy, sad, that kind of stuff, or anything to do with stop motion or voice acting, if I know how to do it and you let me know, then I'll try my best to do it for you and get a tutorial out, right? Please also consider subscribing to the channel, because my goal is that hopefully if this channel were to get big enough and I could monetize it, it may be possible for me to make a living doing animation and YouTube stuff, right? That'd be super awesome, totally cool, and I really enjoy that, of course. Now I wanted to mention too, thus far, episode 1 is like almost 50% complete. I have about 7 minutes of footage right now, so I'm guessing it might be somewhere close to 14 minutes long or something, but I can't really guess that because there's also pauses between words and all that stuff, but right now I have about 7 minutes of footage for episode 1. And of course, stop motion takes a long time. That's a lot of pictures and a lot of editing and a lot of stuff going on, but I'm actually doing a lot faster than I thought. I think I started filming episode 1 either early January or late December, probably early January. So it's been about a month I've been working on it so far. Well, actually, no, it was March now. So about 2 months, basically, I've been working on this episode, and it is getting close to the end. As I mentioned in a previous video, I plan to do 4 seasons of this show. So it's a long-term project, and of course, if it gets bigger and stuff, then I may consider hiring people to join my animation team so we could get episodes produced more quickly, because right now it's just me alone doing it, and it's quite a lot to do. Although, I really enjoy it, I love it, but it is still a lot to do, and having a team would obviously help alleviate a lot of the difficulty and all that stuff. So there is a GoFundMe page if you want to donate to help fund the project. Thus far, I have spent $1,200 on scene 1. I haven't calculated the price I've spent so far for scene 2, but of course, I have to buy like camera equipment. I have to buy 1/6 scale dolls, which are pretty expensive dolls. Okay, foam for like crafting stuff. I made all these things you see here and that costs money. I bought a camera, a pretty high quality camera, a Logitech Brio. Is like $200 camera, so my animations will be like very good quality. And yeah, so if you want to donate to the GoFundMe, totally appreciated. I also have a Facebook page. On the Facebook page, you can see like behind the scenes. I have wallpapers on there that I think are pretty nice looking wallpapers. What else is there on Facebook? You know, like there's videos of me editing stuff, and you'll see some of my workflow. You might see me animating and my progress report and all that. So if you want to see all that kind of stuff, follow the Facebook page or like it or whatever you do. I think you just like it on, you can do either like or follow, or like and follow. I don't know. Just look at my Facebook page and sign up or whatever, right? But anyways, thanks for watching and peace.